On today's episode of Why Did I Buy This, we've got ourselves a leaker. 2013 Chevy Equinox with a bit of a drippy drip going on. So we've ordered ourselves up a rear main seal by Felpro. And of course, timing chain kit by Chloe's. For those of you that don't know, these cars have a tendency to pop the rear main seal out on them due to a PCV issue. Something about condensation and the freeze of all the moisture inside the PCV system. Crankcase can't breathe. Pressure's got to go somewhere. I kind of relate this to going to Taco Bell, having yourself about 5 or 6 gargantuan tacos, and then drinking about 5 muscle milks, and having your buddy apply some duct tape underwear to yourself. The pressure's got to go somewhere, folks. If the crankcase can't breathe, she's going to be a blower. Car's in pretty good shape. It's got about 110,000 miles on it. The only body damage is right there. That door has a nice little whack to it. But otherwise, she's pretty clean. Besides the junk that you might see in it. Picked it up for $1,400. According to the blue books, it should sell for about $7,000, maybe $8,000. That's if I take care of this dent. I think I can pop most of that out. Not sure if I'm going to bother with it or not. A little bit of a dent here, kind of carried on. This was, of course, indeed an elderly person's car. Tends to be minor body damage found on cars that I purchase from older folks. Not picking on you older folks. I understand sometimes it's hard to turn your neck and look backwards. Even though this thing has a rear view camera and mirrors, we still bump into things. Previous owner had recently replaced the tires, both front and back, and brakes. So, for the $1,400 that I paid for this car, I basically bought a set of brakes and tires that came with an Equinox that leaks. She does have timing chain codes in it, but it does run. So rather than let this thing be started and stopped a whole bunch of times, I decided to kind of bump it in front of some of the other cars that are sitting out here in the shop, waiting for my lovely attention. So follow along, kind of show you guys a little bit of the process of how you tear out the engine on these. Of course, you do have to remove the engine in order to replace the rear main seal. That's kind of unfortunate, but it's necessary. GM, according to service information, wants you to drop the engine out the bottom. I work on a lot of these Equinoxes, Eco Junks. Maybe that's what I'll start calling them. People seem to love them. They buy them, and they do have their problems, but you can make them fairly bulletproof if you know what you're doing. So I'm going to yank the motor out the top. It's a pretty quick process. Usually takes me about 3 hours to get an engine out of one of these. Taking my time, of course. Occasionally taking a break for a beverage or two. But I'll get the engine out, drop it on the ground. I've got the install tool that'll show you how to push that new seal in, set up some new timing chains. I've already checked to make sure it doesn't burn oil. It leaks oil. Preliminary checks for burning oil anyway, checking the exhaust, pulling the spark plugs out. She all looked pretty good. I will do a few more checks to make sure I don't have any carbon issues on those pistons, like dropping a camera down the hole, because that's one of the other issues with these cars, is they like to burn oil. So not only do Equinox ecotecs leak oil when you have a PCV system issue, they also like to burn oil due to the low tension rings that all these manufacturers are running today. You can blame it on GM for being crafty and creative with trying to reduce friction, but pretty much every manufacturer has issues with oil consumption at this point. Okay, I guess I got some auction cars to look at. My phone is chirping. I'm going to get to work. I'll talk to you guys later. And just like that, the engine's out. Took me about 3 hours, maybe a little bit longer. Fall over here. And sure enough, rear main seal's leaking. Nice oily mess everywhere in the bell housing. If you look real closely, see
where the seal actually blew out. Look down here. It's relatively normal. As you come up here to the top, it's popped out. So I've got the new seal ready to go. Right here. Just a Fel-Pro. And I've got the special tool that's required in order to push in the new seal. This thing's pretty neat. The way it works, I'll do this with one hand. There's these threaded rods that are basically bolts. On the back side, there's a flat for a flathead screwdriver, so you can kind of get them placed in the same bolt holes that your flex plate would bolt into. But the cool thing about it is the seal itself actually pushes over the tool like this. And then once you have the seal installed on the tool, you can start the threads of the bolt into the bell housing, into the crankshaft. And then you just spin this handle here, and it walks the new seal perfectly onto the crank. So I'm going to go ahead and dig this thing out, the old one. I'm just going to use a pick and pry the old seal out of there. And once the old seal's out, I'll be able to push the new one in. And then I'll move on to the timing chains because I still have to do those. It's not too bad of a job to take care of timing chains when the engine is sitting on the floor. It's really not that bad of a job to do timing chains on these engines when they're in the engine bay too. But I'm going to go ahead and do it now. Might as well, rather than put the engine back in and fight the chains.
Hey there, buddy. You feeling better? Yeah? That was a scary operation, wasn't it? What'd we learn? What lessons did we learn? That's right. No more Taco Bell for you, buddy. You can't handle it. We're going to put you on a strictly vegan diet from now on. Yeah, you got some bird poop on you too, don't you, buddy?
All right, everybody. That's pretty much a wrap for this one. I've got the coolant funnel still hooked up. Just got to burp out a few more bubbles before I'm ready to take it on a test drive. But yeah, it's pretty much a wrap. PCB system should be flowing nice now. Shouldn't have that rear main seal blow out again.
You ready to go take some people on some road trips? Yeah, that's right. And if you blow out your rear main seal again, guess where you're going to go, buddy? I'm going to send you back to the auction. Oh, that's scary, isn't it? You don't want to go back to the auction. People there won't take care of you like I do. Oh, and I suppose you like to hear me fire it up, so I can prove that I actually fixed something, huh? That's right. All right, here we go. Ready? Ooh, that's right.